14 days, 3 countries, dozens of wild animals, expert guides and staff, spectacular scenery, cultural exchanges. Joined by our 4 friends from Maryland and 9 other adventurous Americans, we took a journey of discovery on an overseas adventure travel safari in southern Africa. We explored regions in Zimbabwe, Zambia, and Botswana. First, we visited 3 national parks: Bungee in Zimbabwe, Kafue in Zambia, Chobe in Botswana. After that, we camped in the Okavango Delta of Botswana, then ended in Livingston, the site of the spectacular Victoria Falls. On our flights to and from Livingston, the flight attendants spray the cabin with insecticide. This one wisely keeps her nose upwind. We flew on several small planes to get to some of the safari camps. From the air, we saw controlled burns and a very dry Okavango Delta. It should have been flooded and filled with wetlands and waterholes this time of year, but the rainy season was a no-show. Sad for us, bad for the farmers and animals. More about that later. The small airstrips are made of compacted soil. The skilled pilots land smoothly. That is, with the help of guards who keep the runways clear of straying wild animals. As we get off the aircraft, 2 hornbills greet us. We'll see almost as many of them as we do the impalas. Let's begin with the biggest animal on the continent, the African elephant. There are 2 kinds, the smaller forest elephant and the bigger bush elephant, who grows up to 13 feet tall and as much as 7 tons. Here's one sizing us up. Even from our huge touring vehicle, he is imposing. Who's the tourist now? He peacefully leaves, giving us the African salute. At a waterhole in Wangé, we see them slurping away. Fully grown, they drink up to 60 gallons a day. Their versatile, powerful, and sensitive trunks are incredible with what they can do, such as breathing, feeling, communicating, drawing and spraying water, tearing apart large trees, and picking up small bits to eat. We are inspected by another bush elephant. One of us makes a wrong observation. Unexpectedly, he charges. Our guide bangs the door of the safari vehicle, startling the big guy. That was close. Let's see it again in slow motion. He seems to retreat behind a bush, but as we move away, he chases us. Our guide zooms away. The elephant can be seen in the side view mirror. That was a rush. Now for some views of more peaceful pachyderms. Using their massive trunks, they eat hundreds of pounds of vegetation per day, even thorny acacias. Apparently, they digest only a little, leaving much of that fiber behind in their dung, which is everywhere, it seems. Dung is burned mainly to repel mosquitoes and tsetse flies, whose bites can cause malaria and sleeping sickness. The cans of dung are hung on the backs of our vehicles. One of us makes a face, but it's mostly odor-free. Even so, we use our own cans of repellent. When an elephant crosses the road, everyone yields. Evidently, they don't have a shy bone in their bodies.
Oh my God.
At dusk, a herd gathers at a Wange waterhole to drink and cool off. We're captivated by an adorable baby elephant as it turns towards us. Daytime at Musuma Dam in Wange reveals a great gathering of many animals. Zebras, impalas, waterbucks come in. The elephants frolic in the water. Some bathe, then promptly toss dust on their backs to repel insects and prevent sunburn. Some of the unusual trees are the euphorbia and sausage. Also in abundance are mahogany, palm, succulent baobabs, and Mopane trees. Elephants tear into baobabs with their tusks to get at the water inside the trunk, a practice called ring barking. The Mopane only grow in the northern parts of southern Africa. Later, we'll taste a caterpillar that feeds on Mopane. But back to the animals. A hippo enters the dam, briefly giving birds a ride. We are told that because hippos are so territorial, aggressive, and strong, they kill more people annually than any other mammal in Africa. Weighing up to 5 tons, they spend most of their time in the water, submerging for 5 minutes or more. While on the Zambezi River, we are amused by the contrast between an ultralight plane above and the heavy hippos below. That's not a yawn, but a threat that they fiercely protect their territory. No argument from us. This one has massive teeth that could use a good cleaning. Any volunteers? Hippos make trails to the rivers that the guides call hippo highways. Here's one in Kafue. Other animals use them too. Contrasting with a lumbering hippo, this giraffe gracefully glides by. Males can grow to 15 feet tall, towering over us. Sometimes they host oxpeckers and other birds who look for food, such as ticks and dead skin on their great necks.
There. Oh, isn't that not beautiful? Yeah. The mother is living. She wanted to have a sip of lactating.
Guide Wano talks about them.
Trees and other thorn trees.
Yeah.
But if you look at this terrain, it doesn't have some thorn trees. But still we have good chances of seeing big heads of giraffes. Yeah. That's why I say giraffes in this area, I make them very important on the safari. And surprisingly, they don't move away.
In Chobe, Ban, another guide, tells us the 3 names given to giraffe motion.
When they're standing like this, we call it a tower. So when they are moving is a journey. The journey of giraffe while they're moving. And then when they're running, they call it a stride.
Then he points out their side-to-side walk. When you're that tall, taking a drink means a lot of careful bending. Watch out, here come the crocs. Some grow to be over 21 feet long. The guides warily keep a respectful distance. After cautioning us about these dangerous creatures, our tour leader Vimbai and the Camp Lufupa guides play a prank on us. They tell us we are going to see a nest of croc eggs and young, but we have to be quiet and careful. We're excited, but we find out after going ashore that instead they've set up an elegant barbecue lunch complete with a bar and tablecloth service in the bush. Total surprise. This was the most elaborate bush break of all the game drives. But okay, we understand. Even if we didn't get close to croc eggs, crocs are dangerous and everyone knows it. These birds carefully keep their distance. Smaller and less dangerous than the crocs are the baboons. Here's a family running about the bush. Watch the young ones riding on their mothers' backs and clinging to their undersides, while one of the mothers even catches them as they drop from the trees. Our guide tells us that the parents constantly scan the area for predators.
Some prominent males that we can find around. What's going on? What?
The only monkeys we saw were vervets. This one happened to be perched in a tree outside of our tent. Even though it's a grass eater, the Cape buffalo is renowned for ferocity and extreme strength. While these seen here appear relaxed and allow birds to groom them, our guides keep their distance since they can charge without provocation. They've been known to kill lions.
Yeah, they tend to travel solitary or they form a
Buffalo hide can be up to 2 inches thick. Maybe that's why this one is getting a good scratch using a termite mound. Ah, that feels better. High-jumping impalas are antelopes and seemingly as plentiful as elephant dung. In fact, one guide said he'd give us our money back if we didn't see one. The males guard their harems fiercely, and we saw a few fights.
Teenager boy.
At night, they kept us up with the noisy grunting sounds of their mating. Hey, you guys, knock it off. With their C-shaped horns, these blue and black wildebeests confidently stride across the savanna. Another antelope-like creature is the tsessebe. They are the fastest of the antelopes, but this one wasn't ready to race. Some say warthogs are cute, but those sure are sharp tusks. To hide from predators, some of them live in burrows dug by aardvarks. As we see later on, that defense tactic can fail.
This guy with the lower tusk, the jaw, in the lower jaws, it's very sharp like a knife. Was watch one day these guys kill the lions. The lions chase these guys going to burrows, and after the lions just put a head inside in the burrow, and water is coming, cut in the throat here.
While they have a well-placed fear of big cats, they don't have as much fear of helicopters. Near Victoria Falls, this group quickly grazes between landings and takeoffs. The helipad staff doesn't seem to mind. With antlers having more corkscrew turns than that of impalas and waterbucks, this big male greater kudu confidently strides along. A male waterbuck is seen here trying to gain the interest of a disinterested female. Lastly, at Chobe, we get a good look at a sable with its scythe-like antlers. What trip to southern Africa would be complete without encountering zebras? And what's up with the stripes? Recent research suggests that rather than for camouflage, they help cool them off. A tall giraffe accompanies this herd. We barely glimpse a small, fast-moving banded mongoose. From our boat, eagle-eyed guide Boyd spots a monitor lizard in the trees lining the shore of the Lufupa River. It takes our untrained eyes a long time to finally see this very large but well-camouflaged, long-clawed carnivore. It's a leopard, tortoise, that is. One of the little 5 must-see animals for the safari goers. On the furrier side is the black-backed jackal. It looks like a fox, but behaves more like a coyote. Early in the morning, a pair of civet cats quietly run past our tent. It's tough to see in these photos, but another carrion feeder is the hyena. These nocturnal scavengers are able to eat bones, resulting in white scat. Here's a time-lapse of 30 minutes of a peaceful group of animals at a waterhole located just a few yards from our camp in the Okavango Delta. Because it was so dry this year, the camp supplemented the water with about 600 liters per day from their tank. Here, kitty kitty. Oh wait, those aren't house cats. Cheetahs, leopards, and lions spiced up our game drives. First up are a pair of cheetahs. Although they can race at speeds up to 70 miles per hour, these two were just relaxing in the afternoon sun. They resemble leopards, but their spots are more uniformly sized, and they have black tear-like lines running from their eyes to their jaws. These two males groom each other and charmingly lie about in the tall grass. Our guide, Jax, speculates they could be brothers.
Relative, close friends. Yeah, so they act as brothers. They might be brothers from the same mother. They might be brothers from different, same family.
We were all very excited to view a leopard in a tree. This one has a perfect view of the area for finding prey, us not included. Both the big cats and most of their prey don't have color vision. By changing the screen to black and white, it's apparent how well they are camouflaged. The leopard climbs out of the tree and starts stalking. Elsewhere, a mother leopard and her cub are stalking impalas. Earlier, this leopard had killed an impala, but roving lions got the scent and scared her away. Lions are just as happy to eat someone else's kill as their own. Here's a lioness feasting on what's left of that impala. It's not for the squeamish. Always on the lookout, the vultures await their turn at the table. Sharp-eyed guide Kay spots the white tip of a tail from over 100 yards away. We race through the bush to see who belongs to it. It's another leopard who has killed an impala, but this time the leopard has the feast to itself. The biggest cat, of course, is the lion. The manes and teeth of the males are very striking when only a couple of yards separate us from them. But it turns out that the females are the better hunters. This sand once hid a warthog burrow. Lions found it, pulled 2 warthogs out, and turned them into afternoon meals. You can almost hear this one burp. Hearing lions roar from just a few feet away is extraordinary. This one is advertising his presence to others in the pride. Their roars can be heard for miles. At one point, some were in our camp at night, getting our attention. Let's listen. After all of that noise, a quiet ride on the Lufupa River in Kafue Park is serene and calming. Until snorting hippos surface and grab our attention. Termites and their mounds are everywhere. Some of the mounds are hundreds of years old and taller than giraffes. The mound colors depend on the surrounding soil. Those colors become decorative for some of the native people who use them as cement for construction. We see that when we visit a homestead in Zimbabwe. Other interesting insects abound. Crossing the path is a large regiment of army ants. Guide Godfrey describes their behavior.
They are active during the cool hours of the day. So at night or late afternoon, as well as early morning. These guys, they raid the termites.
Larger still, but safe to touch, is the rhinoceros beetle. It's another one of the little 5. Bon holds a 2-incher found by our lodge up to a light. Southern Africa has a great variety of birds. Tall and small, colorful and plain, they are all enchanting. Let's take a peek at a bunch of them.
So that the stinging part comes out, that's the time when the bird swallows the beetle.
Meeting the people of the countries and learning their customs is a hallmark of OAT trips. In Zimbabwe, we visited one family's homestead within a small, impoverished village of good-willed, proud, and hard-working men and women. They gave us an enthusiastic welcome, opening their home to us and sharing food and drink. Listen to their story. The village headman and Francisca, the homestead owner, are especially interesting. They tell us about their lifestyle and much more, including how climate change affects them.
We have about 114 homesteads with a population of 436 people.
I am Francisca Lambani Ngube, the owner of this homestead, and I am married to Mr. Married to Mr. Ngube. We have been married for 48 years. We are blessed with 8 children, but unfortunately one passed away. Now there are 7, 5 boys and 2 girls. 9 grandchildren, 5 girls and 4 boys, and 1 great-grandchild. And I am 66 years old now. As for the construction of the kitchen, here we use the stones and termite mound. So the women are the builders. We build and then plaster. We have different kinds of termite mounds. We have termite mound for building the walls, then termite mound for plastering, and termite mound for the floors. And again, termite mound with different colors. So we know where to find the colors in the bush. So every woman is proud of her kitchen. So you design your design of the shelf. So this is my design of the, as you can see, there are pots, plates and everything. We use Mopane tree for the firewood. And again, Mopane tree for the poles and the fencing. So we have a special tree. As for ventilation, as you can see, the smoke, you see that the smoke goes out on top, then it goes outside here on top and through these windows. Here we use the stones, not bricks. So we gather the bricks to get the stones, then gather the termite mound. When you see that it is enough to build, then we start building. Here it took us 2 weeks because we're working from morning until sunset.
Wow.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. We go deep in the forest. Deep in the forest to gather some firewood. You go as a family or with your friends or with your neighbors.
I couldn't go very far.
Just to tell you what I do on my homestead. I wake up early in the morning. As you have seen, my kitchen is big. Take my broom, sweep the kitchen clean, make the fire. Then I feed the children, they go to school. Then I have 2 girls, but they are not all here. They've gone to Wange town. So they will know what to do. One will be sweeping, one will be cleaning the dishes, then cook breakfast. Sometimes we'll be using this baobab tree fruit for porridge. And this is the polenta we have. What we were pounding outside. This is millet. This is millet, raw millet, and that is the polenta from the millet. You can even bake some cakes with these fruits. There are bed plums. And after we have had our lunch in the afternoon, one of them will be washing the dishes clean. Then we don't relax. We don't sleep in the afternoon. The women, if you find the women sleeping in the afternoon, African women, she's lazy like what we're doing. Those who are lazy suffer. Sometimes you go in the bush in the afternoon to gather some firewood, or you'll be doing something, even mending the uniforms or the clothes. Then in the evening, one of the girls will see that the children have had their bath, one will be cooking supper. Then after we've had our supper, sometimes we'll be able, if they come back home with the homework, you help them after supper or before supper in the afternoon. Have their homework. Then after that, they will tell you what they've learned at school and what is needed in school at the time to report. And again, we'll be giving each other some duties, what we are going to do tomorrow. Like now we have a funeral in another village, so tomorrow we are going there. So in the evening, I'll tell them tomorrow I'll be not here. I'm going to the funeral. Then after that, we have a small prayer. As we are Catholics, just a small prayer, then it's good night. That's in short the duties of women.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my.
If you want to taste it, you suck on it because there's a seed inside. We'll talk more about it at some point, but don't chew, suck on it.
If you chew, you are not going to eat meat. You are not going to bite
so you
the
suck
meat.
on it.
There's a bit of change because now we have learned to meet you people. But long back when I was growing up, when we saw a European, we used to run away. We were told to run away. But now we are lucky because now we are sitting having tea together. And again, the changes are, we are having modern houses and modern things like radios, phones and what can I call them?
Satellites.
Yeah, dish and TV. So there's a bit of change.
The cattle, many people had the cattle and they were good cattle, very healthy because everything was there. But nowadays, at other times, little rain or nothing. No rain throughout the year. So there's a great change.
The difference is that we had much rain and we had more millet, sorghum, everything. We were eating what we liked, but these days there's little rain, so even for the feeding, it is difficult.
Are the temperatures the same, or have they gotten...
The temperature is not the same again. Now it is very hot.
Very hot.
Very hot. So they go all alone in the bush, then come back later in the afternoon, drink water, then back again. Then they come back later in the evening. Straight to the buffet.
Earlier that day, at the suggestion of our trip leader Vimbai, we purchased bulk food and cleaning supplies for the homesteaders rather than a cash donation. She pointed out that often they don't know where their next meal is coming from. We loaded our bus with the provisions, then helped unload the goods. Our gift was met with sincere and enthusiastic gratitude. We were humbled. As we were leaving the village, our bus needed a push start. Vehicular travel in Zimbabwe can be tricky since petrol is often severely rationed.
Good morning. Good morning.
Then we visited St. Mary's Primary School. It is supported in part by a charitable organization affiliated with OAT. The children were thrilled to see us. They sang a heartwarming song of welcome. A second grade class recited a funny poem. Women sometimes transport goods by balancing them on their heads. Earlier, in the Wange village, we saw a demonstration of how this is done with a heavy piece of Mopane firewood. Auntie from Camp Santawani showed her skills in nimbly carrying a duffel bag that weighed over 25 pounds.
And she can dance.
Holy moly, Auntie.
Oh, you are good. How many kilograms of that bag?
Don't tell me.
Some of the men move goods on overloaded bicycles. Our last night in each camp was celebrated with traditional night farewell shows. The staff danced and sang, talked about their customs, and served specially prepared meals. We, the guests, also did impromptu acts. Band the MC checks in with the audience. Pula, he shouts, meaning cheers.
What do we say? Pula! Pula!
In this part of the safari, we sample the power of Victoria Falls, watch a bungee jump, and fearlessly eat the local delicacies called Mopane worms and sardine-like kapenta fish. The falls are nearly a mile long, and the rising mist can be seen from great distances. The apt local name translates to the smoke that thunders. Here, the Zambezi River plunges up to 354 feet in several gorges as it crosses from Zambia into Zimbabwe. The tour operators include ponchos for the deluge, so our cameras are tucked away in large plastic bags, except when we need them, which is most of the time. It's truly a rainforest here. We happily get soaked near the Devil's Cataract. To comprehend its scale, a helicopter ride is the way to go. Earlier that day, we took an under-the-bridge tour to get a feel for how it was constructed. For being over 100 years old, it's holding up very well, and the views are superb. All of us bask in the rainbows. Mist turns into beautiful dewdrops on some of the plants. The bungee jump from the bridge is thrilling to watch. The jumper is safely recovered, and we move on. We had great food while we camped. Vimbai insisted we try the local delicacies called Mopane worms and kapenta fish. The worms are actually fried caterpillars that lived on dead Mopane trees. The food critics weigh in. Would you try these dishes?
We ate the worm.
The Mopane.
And we survived.
Very crunchy. All the way through.
And
But
we
not
are
much
still
flavor.
smiling.
So there you have it. We close with some of the scenes we enjoyed the most. Sunsets and sunrises, dark starry skies and full moons, colorful birds in flight, magnificent wildlife, and the joyous dancing, singing, and other celebrations of living in this beautiful land.
Beautiful Africa, beautiful Africa, we shall never forget. Beautiful Africa, beautiful Botswana, we shall never forget. Beautiful Botswana, beautiful Zimbabwe, beautiful Zimbabwe, we shall never forget. Beautiful Zimbabwe, beautiful America, beautiful America, we shall never forget. Beautiful America, beautiful Baobab, beautiful Baobab, we shall never forget. Beautiful Baobab, beautiful our guest, beautiful our guest, we shall never forget. Beautiful our guest, beautiful our star, beautiful our staff, we shall never forget. Beautiful our staff.
Right, thank you.
Everybody see you in the morning. In the morning, see you. In the morning, see you.
a little hungry here.